Have you been dreaming of owning a house here in this beautiful state of California? Well, you're not alone. This state is a great place to live in, to raise a family in, but let's be real. This is one of the toughest housing markets in the nation, probably in the world. It's not easy to find anything that is even closely affordable. And today I want to show you a few steps you can take to fulfill your dream of homeownership out here in California. My name is Jürgen Herzog. I'm a real estate broker here on the Central Coast in California. I'm doing this for almost 3 decades, and I've seen this dream of homeownership slowly slipping away from people just due to the affordability issue. We have low housing inventory, we have a high demand, and prices are going through the roof. But I'm also a strong believer that if you put your mind to something and you commit to it, you will achieve your goals. And if you have rich parents or you made a gazillion up in Silicon Valley with a startup, this is probably not the video for you. Please call me. I'm happy to help you to find a house, but this is more for people that are starting from scratch. That's what I had to do when I came to the state. Now I own several properties here. It has been maybe a little bit easier at the time, but there's some fundamental steps you must take to make this journey work. I mentioned it already, commitment. If you have a dream board, use it. If you have a long-term planner, whatever, but you have to think real estate all the time. You have to keep your eyes open. You will find those opportunities, but you have to get involved and you cannot be slacking off. By the way, I just put out a video in regards of home ownership here in California, and I just did the math how you cannot afford not to buy a house here. You own it to yourself, you own it to your family and future generations to build that wealth through real estate. As I always say, real estate is local, so every market here in California has their own little flair, price range, and things you have to watch out for. Now, if you're going more inlands or up in the Sierras, prices are a little bit lower, but if you're on the coast part of California, you pay a premium price. And we're talking easily $1 million plus. So you think, oh, that is not affordable. I cannot do that. That's just an insane number. Well, let's split up your financial power into 4 parts and then see how we can improve each part. So we have the commitment down. So you really have to think and breathe real estate. Now you have to figure out what you can actually do. Let's do a situation analysis. And that comes down to finances, because homes are hard to come by here because they're so expensive. So your financial makeup has 4 major parts that matter when buying a home. One of them is debt. How much debt do you actually have at the moment? Do you have student loans? Do you have credit card debt? Do you have car loans? All that factors in how much more debt, and I'm thinking mortgage here, you can take on. And then your credit ranking in general. How do you pay your bills? Do you pay them on time or not? Because that determines how a lender, a mortgage lender, will look at you. And then there is cash. You need some cash to buy a home. We're talking closing costs, maybe even for your buyer's agent, and down payment. And the most important part is probably income, because the way to qualify for a loan is a lender giving you a percentage of your gross income. So before I continue, it is important that you find out if you have any shortcomings on those 4 parts, your financial makeup, and the best way to find that out is talk to a mortgage broker. If you don't know anybody, reach out to us. We can hook you up with the right people. And they will check your debt ratio. They will check your income. They will look at your credit rating, and they will find out, oh, you have to work on your credit. Oh, you have to pay off some loans. So that is actually the first step you want to take, so you know where you are financially. Even if you're not all there yet, you will get there. For example, you find out that your credit score is really not that high and interest rates might be higher because of that, or you might be even declined of getting any loan because of your credit ranking. Well, start working on it. The biggest part that determines your FICO score, your credit ranking, is actually your payment history. And that is you paying your bills on time. And the second biggest part that determines your credit ranking is how much you actually owe. Let's say you have a credit card, $10,000 limit, and you're at $9,500. That doesn't look good. It will affect your credit ranking. So please keep the credit you use, for example, on a credit card, at about 10% of your limit. Keep it low. Also, you're paying a ton of interest on those things anyway. You should actually pay them off every month. Then you don't have to worry about that. And it will help you with the part we're talking later on about money, saving, and income. Also, if you have some loans that are ancient, or you have a credit card since you're a teenager, even if there's no balance on it, keep it, because the length of your history, of your credit history, determines how good your credit is, and it helps if you have longer lines of credit. Do not ask or apply for a credit card or a car loan or anything like this when you're trying to buy a house. Stop borrowing money when you're ready to buy. So the other part we mentioned earlier, debt. Actually, it's debt to income ratio that is important for a lender, depending how much debt you have and how much you have to pay every month and how much your income is. They come up with a figure you can qualify for. So the goal for you should be to pay off your debt. And the best approach is always pay off the debt that has the highest interest rate and pay off the debt that is not a write-off. You might have a loan on your business and you might write it off against your income. That might be the debt you don't want to pay off yet, but your credit card debt, you probably should. Also, the best thing of reducing debt is not taking it on. So do not max out your cards. Do not borrow stuff. My dad always told me, Jürgen, if you cannot pay cash for it, you don't need it. Which is really hard when you're buying a house, but all the other debt, you should really be careful using it. Your income. If you have a job that doesn't pay that well, you might want to go back to school or find a better job, ask for a raise. You have to do all these things. If you want to buy a house, you can't sit still and say, hey, I love working retail and be a barista for the rest of my life. It won't work. You have to improve yourself to get the stuff you want in life. And if I haven't mentioned it at the beginning of the video, for some people, buying a house from scratch with not much help or any help from family members and such, it might take time. So work on your career, maybe get a second job, do tons of overtime. Whatever can increase your gross income will help you to qualify for a higher mortgage. And make sure that the jobs you have are long-standing jobs. Don't switch careers all the time, because lenders want to see some consistency. So they go back 2 years, and if you switched your career 3 times, you might actually not qualify, because they want to make sure that your income is steady. Because if you get a 30-year fixed mortgage, that income goes towards that mortgage for the next 30 years. And sometimes when your income is not enough, and I haven't seen many home buyers that are single, but you might want to partner up with somebody. Doesn't even have to be romantically. You don't have to get married to buy a house, but if you have several people with the same mindset and you want to buy real estate because it's a great investment and a place for you to live, well, pool some money together. Your income will increase and the amount of mortgage you can qualify for will go up as well. And then there is the actual real money you will need. You need cash for closing costs. You need cash for your down payment. The more down payment you bring into the transaction, the better your rates, and you don't have to pay for something that's called mortgage insurance. But even if you go for a minimum 3.5% down payment plus closing costs plus cost maybe now for your agents, there had been some rules that changed. It will be a hefty amount you have to save up. And your lender wants to see that money and also some reserves before they give you a loan. So how do you get there? Well, we talked about your income. If you were able to increase your income, get a second job, get a better career going, you should have money you can save for that down payment and closing cost. Also, debt. If you reduce your debt or you don't take it on, you have less monthly obligations to pay. Again, more money to save. And it might take a while, but Put some money aside for reserves, rainy day funds anyway. You need that. You need that especially when you own a house. And let's say you're really working on all those items, but you still have the feeling, hey, I cannot buy this $1 million home here. What can I do? It's frustrating, I know. But I tell you what I did. The first 2 homes I bought, I did not live in because I could not afford a home when I came fresh off the boat to California. I had 4 suitcases and no money. But I saved enough money to buy in a cheaper area in California and bought a rental. And I did some seller financing. They helped me with the down payment. You can work it. And then I sold that house later on, made some equity, helped me with a larger down payment for another rental that was too small for me to live in, but closer to where I lived. And I sold that at one point. And then finally, I bought my first home. So here in California, if you're really doing it all from scratch by yourself, you have to do it step by step. You cannot expect to, live in your dream house when you're 25. Just doesn't happen that way. So I hope those tips really did help you. You have to be committed. You really have to think real estate all the time. Then get a good agent that reminds you, hey, you're almost there. Hey, there's a house in your price range. Might not be as pretty as you wanted, but you should probably take a look at it and maybe use that as your starting block. So get a good agent, get a great lender that tells you where to improve on the financial parts. With the right team, you will fulfill your dream of homeownership here in California. I believe it. I've done it. People do it all the time, so don't give up. And if you have any questions, want details, resources, give me a call. My business partner and I will be happy to help you with all your questions. We love real estate. We're doing it for a long time, and we're so glad if we can help you. So in the meantime, good luck.